Belgium became independent from the Netherlands in 1830. It was occupied by Germany during World Wars I and II. The country prospered in the past half-century as a modern, technologically advanced European state and member of NATO and the EU. In recent years, political divisions between the Dutch-speaking Flemish of the north and the French-speaking Walloons of the south have led to constitutional amendments granting these regions formal recognition and autonomy. The capital city of Brussels is home to numerous international organizations including the EU and NATO.
Belgium summary.
Adobe PDF.
Geography.
Belgium.
Location. Western Europe, bordering the North Sea, between France and the Netherlands.
Geographic coordinates. 5050 N. 400E.
Map references. Europe.
Area. Total.
30,528 square kilometers.
Land.
30,278 square kilometers.
Water.
250 square kilometers.
Country comparison to the world.
141.
Area. Comparative. About the size of Maryland.
Land boundaries. Total.
1,297 kilometers.
Border countries. 4.
France 556 kilometers, Germany 133 kilometers, Luxembourg 130 kilometers, Netherlands 478 kilometers.
Coastline 66.5 kilometers.
Maritime claims, territorial sea.
12.
Exclusive economic zone.
Geographic coordinates define outer limit.
Contiguous zone.
24.
Continental shelf.
Median line with neighbors.
Climate, temperate, mild winters, cool summers, rainy, humid, cloudy.
Terrain. Flat coastal plains in northwest, central rolling hills, rugged mountains of Ardennes forest in southeast.
Elevation. Mean elevation.
181 m.
Elevation extremes.
0 m lowest point.
North Sea.
694 highest point.
Bort range.
Natural resources. Construction materials. Silica sand, carbonates, arable land.
Land use. Agricultural land.
44.1%.
Arable land.
27.2%. Permanent crops.
0.8%. Permanent pasture.
16.1%.
Forest.
22.4%.
Other.
33.5%.
Irrigated land. 230 square kilometers.
Population distribution. Most of the population concentrated in the northern two-thirds of the country. The southeast is more thinly populated, considered to have one of the highest population densities in the world. Approximately 97% live in urban areas.
Natural hazards. Flooding is a threat along rivers and in areas of reclaimed coastal land, protected from the sea by concrete dikes.
Environment. Current issues. Intense pressures from human activities.
Urbanization. Dense transportation network. Industry. Extensive animal breeding and crop cultivation. Air and water pollution also have repercussions for neighboring countries.
Environment. International agreements. Party to.
Air pollution, nitrogen oxides, air pollution persistent organic pollutants, air pollution sulfur 85, air pollution sulfur 94, air pollution volatile organic compounds, Antarctic Environmental Protocol, Antarctic Marine Living Resources, Antarctic Seals, Antarctic Treaty, Biodiversity, Climate Change Kyoto Protocol, Desertification, Endangered Species, Environmental Modification, Hazardous Wastes, Law of the Sea, Marine Dumping, Marine Life Conservation, Ozone Layer Protection, Ship Pollution, Tropical Timber 83, Tropical Timber 94, Wetlands, Whaling.
Signed, but not ratified.
None of the selected agreements.
Geography. Note. Crossroads of Western Europe. Most West European capitals are within 1,000 kilometers of Brussels, the seat of both the European Union and NATO.
People and society.
Belgium.
Population. 11,570,762.
Country comparison to the world.
77.
Nationality. Noun.
Belgians.
Adjective.
Belgian.
Ethnic groups. Belgian 75%. Italian 4.1%. Moroccan 3.7%. French 2.4%. Turkish 2%, Dutch 2%, other 12.8%.
Languages. Dutch, official 60%, French, official 40%, German, official, less than 1%.
Religions. Roman Catholic 50%, Protestant and other Christian 2.5%, Muslim 5%, Jewish 0.4%, Buddhist 0.3%, Atheist 9.2%, non 32.6%.
Age structure 0–14 years.
17.2%. Male 1,019,427 / female 970,845.
15–24 years.
11.25%. Male 664,789 / female 636,452.
25–54 years.
39.82%. Male 2,323,488 / female 2,283,533.
55–64 years.
12.96%. Male 742,842 / female 756,509.
65 years and over.
18.78%. Male 948,956 / female 1,223,921.
Population pyramid.
Population pyramid.
Dependency ratios.
Dependency ratios are a measure of the age structure of a population. They relate the number of individuals that are likely to be economically dependent on the support of others. Dependency ratios contrast the ratio of youths, ages 0 to 14, and the elderly, ages 65+, to the number of those in the working age group, ages 15 to 64. Changes in the dependency ratio provide an indication of potential social support requirements resulting from changes in population age structures, as fertility level. More dependency ratios field listing.
Total dependency ratio
54.2.
Youth dependency ratio
26.2.
Elderly dependency ratio
28.
Potential support ratio
3.6.
Median age total
41.5 years.
Male
40.3 years.
Female
42.7 years.
Country comparison to the world
39.
Population growth rate.
The average annual percent change in the population, resulting from a surplus, or deficit, of births over deaths and the balance of migrants entering and leaving a country. The rate may be positive or negative. The growth rate is a factor in determining how great a burden would be imposed on a country by the changing needs of its people for infrastructure, e.g., schools, hospitals, housing, roads, resources, e.g., food, water, electricity, and jobs. Rapid population growth can be seen as more population growth rate field listing
0.67%.
Country comparison to the world
145.
Birth rate 11.3 births out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world
171.
Death rate 9.7 deaths out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world
43.
Net migration rate 5.4 migrant s out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world
22.
Population distribution. Most of the population concentrated in the northern two-thirds of the country. The southeast is more thinly populated, considered to have one of the highest population densities in the world. Approximately 97% live in urban areas.
Urbanization. Urban population
98% of total population.
Rate of urbanization
0.62% annual rate of change.
Major urban areas. Population 2.05 million Brussels, capital 1.032 million Antwerp.
Sex ratio at birth
1.05 male s/female.
0–14 years
1.05 male s/female.
15–24 years
1.04 male s/female.
25–54 years
1.02 male s/female.
55–64 years
0.98 male s/female.
65 years and over
0.76 male s/female.
Total population
0.97 male s/female.
Mother's mean age at first birth 28.6 years.
Maternal mortality rate.
The maternal mortality rate, MMR, is the annual number of female deaths per 100,000 live births from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, excluding accidental or incidental causes. The MMR includes deaths during pregnancy, childbirth, on within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration and site of the pregnancy, for a specified year. Maternal mortality rate field listing
7 deaths/100,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world
160.
Infant mortality rate total
3.4 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Male.
3.7 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Female.
3 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
201.
Life expectancy at birth. Total population.
81.2 years.
Male.
78.6 years.
Female.
83.9 years.
Country comparison to the world.
31.
Total fertility rate. 1.78 children born. Woman.
Country comparison to the world.
151.
Contraceptive prevalence rate.
This field gives the percent of women of reproductive age, 1549, who are married or in union and are using, or whose sexual partner is using, a method of contraception according to the date of the most recent available data. The contraceptive prevalence rate is an indicator of health services, development, and women's empowerment. It is also useful in understanding past, present, and future fertility trends, especially in developing countries. Contraceptive prevalence rate field listing.
66.8%.
Note.
Percent of women aged 15 to 54.
Health expenditures. 10.6% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
17.
Physicians density. 3.01 physicians out of 1,000 population.
Hospital bed density. 6.2 beds out of 1,000 population.
Drinking water source. Improved.
Urban.
100% of population.
Rural.
100% of population.
Total.
100% of population.
Unimproved.
Urban.
0% of population.
Rural.
0% of population.
Total.
0% of population.
Sanitation facility access. Improved.
Urban.
99.5% of population.
Rural.
99.4% of population.
Total.
99.5% of population.
Unimproved.
Urban.
0.5% of population.
Rural.
0.6% of population.
Total.
0.5% of population.
HIV/AIDS adult prevalence rate. NA.
HIV/AIDS. People living with HIV/AIDS. NA.
HIV/AIDS deaths. NA.
Obesity. Adult prevalence rate. 22.1%.
Country comparison to the world.
81.
Education expenditures. 6.6% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
24.
School life expectancy. Primary to tertiary education.
School life expectancy, SLE, is the total number of years of schooling, primary to tertiary, that a child can expect to receive, assuming that the probability of his or her being enrolled in school at any particular future age is equal to the current enrollment ratio at that age. Caution must be maintained when utilizing this indicator in international comparisons. For example, a year or grade completed in one country is not necessarily the same in terms of educational content or quality. More school life expectancy, primary to tertiary education, field listing.
Total.
20 years.
Male.
19 years.
Female.
21 years.
Unemployment. Youth ages 15-24. Total.
20.1%.
Male.
21.8%.
Female.
18.2%.
Country comparison to the world.
64.
Government.
Belgium.
Country name. Conventional long form.
Kingdom of Belgium.
Conventional short form.
Belgium.
Local long form.
Royaume de Belgique, French, /Koninkrijk België, Dutch, /Koninkrijk Belgian, German.
Local short form.
Belgique/Belgie/Belgian.
Etymology.
The name derives from the Belgae, an ancient Celtic tribal confederation that inhabited an area between the English Channel and the west bank of the Rhine in the 1st century BC.
Government type. Federal parliamentary democracy under a constitutional monarchy.
Capital. Name.
Brussels.
Geographic coordinates.
5050 N. 420 E.
Time difference.
UTC +1, 6 hours ahead of Washington, D.C., during standard time.
Daylight saving time.
+1 hour, begins last Sunday in March, ends last Sunday in October.
Administrative divisions. 3 regions. French.
Regions, singular, region, Dutch.
Gewesen, singular, Gewest. Brussels Capital Region, also known as Brussels Hoofdstedelijk Gewest. Dutch. Region de Bruxelles Capitale. French long form, Bruxelles Capitale. French short form, Flemish Region, Flanders, also known as Vlaams Gewest. Dutch long form, Vlaanderen. Dutch short form, Region Flamand. French long form, Flandre. French short form, Walloon Region, Wallonia, also known as Region Wallonie. French long form, Wallonie. French short form, Wallals Gewest. Dutch long form, Wallonie. Dutch short form.
Note:
As a result of the 1993 constitutional revision that furthered devolution into a federal state, there are now 3 levels of government: federal, regional, and linguistic community, with a complex division of responsibilities. The 2012 Sixth State Reform transferred additional competencies from the federal state to the regions and linguistic communities.
Independence.
For most countries, this entry gives the date that sovereignty was achieved and from which nation, empire, or trusteeship. For the other countries, the date given may not represent independence in the strict sense, but rather some significant nationhood event such as the traditional founding date or the date of unification, federation, confederation, establishment, fundamental change in the form of government, or state succession. For a number of countries, the establishment of statehood. More independence field listing.
The 4th of October 1830, a provisional government declared independence from the Netherlands. The 21st of July 1831, King Leopold I ascended to the throne.
National holiday. Belgian National Day, Ascension to the throne of King Leopold I, the 21st of July, 1831.
Constitution. History.
Drafted the 25th of November 1830, approved the 7th of February 1831, entered into force the 26th of July 1831, revised the 14th of July 1993, creating a federal state.
Amendments.
Revisions, proposed as declarations by the federal government in accord with the king or by parliament followed by dissolution of parliament and new elections. Adoption requires 2/3 majority vote of a 2/3 quorum in both houses of the next elected parliament. Amended many times, last in 2014.
Legal system. Civil law system based on the French Civil Code. Note: Belgian law continues to be modified in conformance with the legislative norms mandated by the European Union. Judicial review of legislative acts.
International Law Organization participation accepts compulsory ICJ jurisdiction with reservations. Accepts SIC jurisdiction.
Citizenship. Citizenship by birth.
No.
Citizenship by descent only.
At least one parent must be a citizen of Belgium.
Dual citizenship recognized.
Yes.
Residency requirement for naturalization.
5 years.
Suffrage. 18 years of age. Universal and compulsory.
Executive branch. Chief of State.
King Philippe, since the 21st of July 2013, heir apparent Princess Elizabeth, daughter of the monarch, born the 25th of October 2001.
Head of government.
Prime Minister, vacant. Deputy Prime Ministers Alexander De Croo, since the 22nd of October 2012, Chris Peters, since the 11th of October 2014, Didier Reynders, since the 30th of December 2008. Note: Prime Minister Charles Michel, since the 11th of October 2014, resigned on the 19th of December 2018. An interim Prime Minister has not been designated.
Cabinet.
Council of Ministers formally appointed by the monarch.
Elections/appointments.
The monarchy is hereditary and constitutional, following legislative elections. The leader of the majority party or majority coalition usually appointed Prime Minister by the monarch and approved by Parliament.
Legislative branch. Description.
Bicameral Parliament consists of
Senate or Senat, in Dutch, Senat, in French, 60 seats, 50 members indirectly elected by the community and regional parliaments based on their election results, and 10 elected by the 50 other senators. Members serve 5-year terms.
Chamber of Representatives or Kamer van Volksvertegenwoordigers, in Dutch, Chambre des Représentants, in French, 150 seats. Members directly elected in multi-seat constituencies by proportional representation vote. Members serve 5-year terms.
Elections.
Senate, last held the 3rd of July 2014, next to be held in 2019.
Chamber of Representatives, last held on the 25th of May 2014, next to be held in May 2019. Note: elections will coincide with the EU's elections.
Election results.
Senate, percent of vote by party, NA, seats by party, NA, composition men 30, women 30, percent of women 50%.
Chamber of Representatives, percent of vote by party, NVA 20.3%, PS 11.7%, CD and V 11.6%, Open VLD 9.8%, Mr 9.6%, SP.A 8.8%, Grown 5.3%, CDH 5%, PTB 3.7%, VB 3.7%, Ecolo 3.3%, DEFI 1.8%, pp 1.5%, other 3.9%, seats by party, NVA 33, PS 23, Mr 20, CD NV 18, Open VLD 14, SP.A 13, CDH 9, Ecolo 6, Grown 6, VB 3, Defi 2, PTB 2, PP 1, Composition, men 91, women 59%, of women 39.3%, note, total parliament percent of women 42.4%.
Note.
The 1993 constitutional revision that further devolved Belgium into a federal state created 3 levels of government: federal, regional, and linguistic community. With a complex division of responsibilities, this reality leaves 6 governments, each with its own legislative assembly. Changes above occurred since the 6th state reform.
Judicial branch, highest courts.
Constitutional Court or Grondwettelijk Hof, in Dutch, and Cour constitutionnelle, in French, consists of 12 judges, 6 Dutch-speaking and 6 French-speaking, Supreme Court of Justice or Hof van Cassatie, in Dutch, and Cour de Cassation, in French, court organized into 3 chambers:
civil and commercial, criminal, social, fiscal, and armed forces. Each chamber includes a Dutch division and a French division, each with a chairperson and 5 to 6 judges.
Judge selection and term of office.
Constitutional Court judges appointed by the monarch from candidates submitted by Parliament. Judges appointed for life with mandatory retirement at age 70. Supreme Court judges appointed by the monarch from candidates submitted by the High Council of Justice, a 44-member independent body of judicial and non-judicial members. Judges appointed for life.
Subordinate courts.
Courts of appeal. Regional courts. Specialized courts for administrative, commercial, labor, immigration, and audit issues. Magistrates' courts. Justices of the peace.
Political parties and leaders. Flemish parties. Christian Democratic and Flemish or CD and V. Wouterbeek.
Flemish Liberals and Democrats or Open VLD. Gwendolen Rutten.
Groen, Miriam formerly Agalef. Flemish Greens.
New Flemish Alliance or Invar. Bart de Wever.
Social Progressive Alternative or SP.A, John Crombez, Stephanie van Houten.
Vlaams Belang, Flemish Interest, or VB, Tom van Grieken.
Francophone parties, Ecolo, Francophone Greens, Patrick Dupras, Zakia Katabi.
Francophone Federalist Democrats or Defi, Olivier Maingain.
Humanist and Democratic Centre or CDH, Benoit Lutgen.
People's Party or PP, Michael Modderkamen.
Reform Movement or Mr. Olivier Chastel.
Socialist Party or PS, Elio Darupo.
Workers' Party or PTB, Peter Mertens.
Other minor parties.
International Organization Participation, ADB. Non-regional members, FDB. Non-regional members, Australia Group, Benelux, BIS, CD, CERN, EAPC, EBRD, ECB, IB, ITI, Implementing Country, EMU, SR, EU, FAO, FATF, G9, G10, EADP, ERIA, IBRD, ICAO, ICC, National Committees, ICT, ICRM, IDA, EA, IFAT, IFC, IFCS, IGARD, Partners, IO, ILO, IMF, IMO, IMSO, Interpol, IOC, IAM, IPU, ISO, ITSO, ITU, ITUC, NGOs, MEGA, MONUSCO, NATO, NIA, NSG, OAS, Observer, ECT, OIF, OPCW, OS, Pacific Alliance, Observer, Paris Club, PCA, Shenzhen Convention, SELEC, Observer, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UNIFIL, UNWA, UNTSO, UPU, WCO, WHO, WIPO, WMO, WTO, ZC.
Diplomatic representation in the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador Dirk Joseph M. Wouters, since the 16th of September 2016.
Chancery.
3330 Garfield Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20008.
Telephone.
12023336900.
Fax.
12023333079.
Consulate. S. General.
Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York.
Diplomatic representation from the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador, vacant. Charge d'affaires Mathieu Lussenhop, since the 21st of January 2017.
Embassy.
27 Boulevard du Regent, Regentlin, B1000 Brussels.
Mailing address.
PSC 82, Box 002, Opoi 09710.
Telephone.
32 28114000.
Fax.
32 28114500.
Flag description: 3 equal vertical bands of black, hoist side, yellow, and red. The vertical design was based on the flag of France. The colours are those of the arms of the Duchy of Brabant: yellow lion with red claws and tongue on a black field.
National symbols: golden rampant lion. National colours:
red, black, yellow.
National anthem:
a generally patriotic musical composition, usually in the form of a song or hymn of praise, that evokes and eulogizes the history, traditions, or struggles of a nation or its people. National anthems can be officially recognized as a national song by a country's constitution or by an enacted law, or simply by tradition. Although most anthems contain lyrics, some do not. National anthem field listing.
Name:
La Brabançonne, the Song of Brabant.
Lyrics, music:
Louis Alexandre Duchet, French, Victor Seelmans, Dutch, /François van Campenhout.
Note:
Adopted 1830. According to legend, Louis Alexandre Duchet, an actor at the theatre in which the revolution against the Netherlands began, wrote the lyrics with a group of young people in a Brussels cafe.
Economy.
Belgium.
Economy. Overview: Belgium's central geographic location and highly developed transport network have helped develop a well-diversified economy, with a broad mix of transport, services, manufacturing, and high-tech. Service and high-tech industries are concentrated in the northern Flanders region, while the southern region of Wallonia is home to industries like coal and steel manufacturing. Belgium is completely reliant on foreign sources of fossil fuels, and the planned closure of its 7 nuclear plants by 2025 should increase its dependence on foreign energy. Its role as a regional logistical hub makes its economy vulnerable to shifts in foreign demand, particularly with EU trading partners. Roughly 3/4 of Belgium's trade is with other EU countries, and the port of Zeebrugge conducts almost half its trade with the United Kingdom alone, leaving Belgium's economy vulnerable to the outcome of negotiations on the UK's exit from the EU.
Belgium's GDP grew by 1.7% in 2017 and the budget deficit was 1.5% of GDP. Unemployment stood at 7.3%, however the unemployment rate is lower in Flanders than Wallonia, 4.4% compared to 9.4%, because of industrial differences between the regions. The economy largely recovered from the March 2016 terrorist attacks that mainly impacted the Brussels region tourist and hospitality industry. Prime Minister Charles Michel's centre-right government has pledged to further reduce the deficit in response to EU pressure to decrease Belgium's high public debt of about 104% of GDP, but such efforts would also dampen economic growth. In addition to restrain public spending, low wage growth and higher inflation promise to curtail a more robust recovery in private consumption.
The government has pledged to pursue a reform program to improve Belgium's competitiveness, including changes to labour market rules and welfare benefits. These changes have generally made Belgian wages more competitive regionally, but have raised tensions with trade unions, which have called for extended strikes. In 2017, Belgium approved a tax reform plan to ease corporate rates from 33% to 29% by 2018 and down to 25% by 2020. The tax plan also included benefits for innovation and SMEs, intended to spur competitiveness and private investment.
GDP, purchasing power parity, $529.2 billion.
$520.2 billion.
$513 billion.
Note:
Data in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
37.
GDP, official exchange rate, $493.7 billion.
GDP, real growth rate, 1.7%.
1.4%.
1.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
162.
GDP, per capita. PPP, $46,600.
$46,000.
$45,700.
Note:
Data are in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
35.
Gross national saving.
Gross national saving is derived by deducting final consumption expenditure, Household plus government, from gross national disposable income, and consists of personal saving, plus business saving, the sum of the capital consumption allowance and retained business profits, plus government saving, the excess of tax revenues over expenditures, but excludes foreign saving, the excess of imports of goods and services over exports. The figures are presented as a percent of GDP. A negative. More gross national saving field listing.
24.5% of GDP.
24% of GDP.
23.4% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
65.
GDP, composition, by end use. Household consumption.
51.2%.
Government consumption.
23.4%.
Investment in fixed capital.
23.3%.
Investment in inventories.
1.3%.
Exports of goods and services.
85.1%.
Imports of goods and services.
Minus 84.4%.
GDP, composition, by sector of origin. Agriculture.
0.7%.
Industry.
22.1%.
Services.
77.2%.
Agriculture, products. Sugar beets, fresh vegetables, fruits, grain, tobacco, beef, veal, pork, milk.
Industries. Engineering and metal products, motor vehicle assembly, transportation equipment, scientific instruments, processed food and beverages, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, base metals, textiles, glass, petroleum.
Industrial production growth rate, 0.2%.
Country comparison to the world.
168.
Labor force, 5.324 million.
Country comparison to the world.
79.
Labor force, by occupation. Agriculture.
1.3%.
Industry.
18.6%.
Services.
80.1%.
Unemployment rate, 7.1%.
7.9%.
Country comparison to the world.
108.
Population below poverty line.
National estimates of the percentage of the population falling below the poverty line are based on surveys of subgroups, with the results weighted by the number of people in each group. Definitions of poverty vary considerably among nations. For example, rich nations generally employ more generous standards of poverty than poor nations. Population below poverty line field listing.
15.1%.
Household income or consumption by percentage share.
Data on household income or consumption come from household surveys, the results adjusted for household size. Nations use different standards and procedures in collecting and adjusting the data. Surveys based on income will normally show a more unequal distribution than surveys based on consumption. The quality of surveys is improving with time, yet caution is still necessary in making inter-country comparisons. Household income or consumption by percentage share field listing.
Lowest 10%.
28.4%.
Highest 10%.
28.4%.
Distribution of family income. Gini index.
This index measures the degree of inequality in the distribution of family income in a country. The index is calculated from the Lorentz curve, in which cumulative family income is plotted against the number of families arranged from the poorest to the richest. The index is the ratio of A, the area between a country's Lorentz curve and the 45-degree helping line, to B, the entire triangular area under the 45-degree line. The more nearly equal a country's income distribution, the closer its. More distribution of family income. Gini index field listing.
25.9.
28.7. 1996.
Country comparison to the world.
150.
Budget. Revenues.
253.5 billion.
Expenditures.
258.6 billion.
Taxes and other revenues. 51.3% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
15.
Budget surplus, plus, or deficit, dash, minus 1%. Of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
74.
Public debt, 103.4% of GDP.
106% of GDP.
Note.
Data cover general government debt and includes debt instruments issued, or owned, by government entities other than the Treasury. The data include Treasury debt held by foreign entities, the data include debt issued by subnational entities, as well as intragovernmental debt. Intragovernmental debt consists of Treasury borrowings from surpluses in the social funds, such as for retirement, medical care, and unemployment. Debt instruments for the social funds are not sold at public auctions. General government debt is defined by the Maastricht definition and calculated by the National Bank of Belgium as consolidated gross debt. The debt is defined in European Regulation EC 479/2009 concerning the implementation of the Protocol on the Excessive Deficit Procedure annexed to the Treaty on European Union, Treaty of Maastricht, of the 7th of February 1992. The subsectors of consolidated gross debt are
federal government, communities and regions, local government, and social security funds.
Country comparison to the world.
13.
Fiscal year, calendar year.
Inflation rate, consumer prices, 2.2%.
1.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
112.
Central bank discount rate, 0%. The 31st of December 2017.
0%. The 31st of December 2010.
Note:
this is the European Central Bank's rate on the marginal lending facility, which offers overnight credit to banks in the euro area.
Country comparison to the world.
148.
Commercial bank prime lending rate, 2.08%.
2.02%.
Country comparison to the world.
183.
Stock of narrow money, $240.5 billion.
$198 billion.
Note:
see entry for the European Union for money supply for the entire euro area. The European Central Bank, ECB, controls monetary policy for the 18 members of the Economic and Monetary Union, EMU. Individual members of the EMU do not control the quantity of money circulating within their own borders.
Country comparison to the world.
22.
Stock of broad money, $240.5 billion.
$198 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
22.
Stock of domestic credit, $711.3 billion.
$684.8 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
20.
Market value of publicly traded shares, $414.6 billion.
$378.5 billion.
$374.3 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
24.
Current account balance, minus $807 million.
$451 million.
Country comparison to the world.
134.
Exports, $300.8 billion.
$277.7 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
20.
Exports, partners, Germany 16.6%. France 14.9%, Netherlands 12%, UK 8.4%, Italy 4.9%, US 4.8%.
Exports, commodities, chemicals, machinery and equipment, finished diamonds, metals and metal products, foodstuffs.
Imports, $300.4 billion.
$273.4 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
17.
Imports, commodities, raw materials, machinery and equipment, chemicals, raw diamonds, pharmaceuticals, foodstuffs, transportation equipment, oil products.
Imports, partners, Netherlands 17.3%, Germany 13.8%, France 9.5%, US 7.1%, UK 4.9%, Ireland 4.2%, China 4.1%.
Reserves of foreign exchange and gold, $26.16 billion.
$24.1 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
54.
Debt, external, $1.281 trillion.
$1.214 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
15.
Stock of direct foreign investment, at home, $1.035 trillion.
$1.054 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
11.
Stock of direct foreign investment, abroad, $1.159 trillion.
$1.016 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
12.
Exchange rates, euros, the US dollar dash
0.885,
0.903,
0.9214,
0.885.
0.7634.
Energy.
Belgium.
Electricity access, electrification, total population.
100%.
Electricity, production, 79.83 billion kWh.
Country comparison to the world.
37.
Electricity consumption, 82.16 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
36.
Electricity, exports, 8.465 billion kWh.
Country comparison to the world.
25.
Electricity, imports, 14.65 billion
Country comparison to the world.
15.
Electricity, installed generating capacity, 21.56 million kW.
Country comparison to the world.
41.
Electricity, from fossil fuels, 35% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
177.
Electricity, from nuclear fuels, 28% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
2.
Electricity, from hydroelectric plants, 1% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
146.
Electricity, from other renewable sources, 36% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
8.
Crude oil, production, 0 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
108.
Crude oil, exports, 0 barrel, day.
Country comparison to the world.
92.
Crude oil, imports, 687,600 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
16.
Crude oil, proved reserves, 0 barrel.
Country comparison to the world.
106.
Refined petroleum products, production, 731,700 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
25.
Refined petroleum products, consumption, 648,600 barrel, day.
Country comparison to the world.
31.
Refined petroleum products, exports, 680,800 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
12.
Refined petroleum products, imports, 601,400 barrel, day.
Country comparison to the world.
14.
Natural gas, production, 0 qm.
Country comparison to the world.
102.
Natural gas, consumption, 17.61 billion cubic meters.
Country comparison to the world.
40.
Natural gas, exports, 736.2 million qm.
Country comparison to the world.
40.
Natural gas, imports, 18.09 billion cubic meters.
Country comparison to the world.
17.
Natural gas, proved reserves, 0 qm.
Country comparison to the world.
109.
Carbon dioxide emissions from consumption of energy, 134.7 million mount.
Country comparison to the world.
35.
Communications.
Belgium,
Telephones, fixed lines, total subscriptions.
4,251,564.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
37.
Country comparison to the world.
33.
Telephones, mobile cellular, total subscriptions.
11,961,089.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
104.
Country comparison to the world.
76.
Telephone system, general assessment.
Highly developed, technologically advanced, and completely automated domestic and international telephone and telegraph facilities. LTE availability is nearly universal in mobile sector. Ongoing investments in developing applications and services for 5G. Consumer are interested in quad play services, broadband plus television plus telephone plus wireless services, which will mean MNOs, mobile network operators, are enhancing their fixed line offerings.
Domestic.
Nationwide mobile cellular telephone system, extensive cable network, limited microwave radio relay network, 37 per 100 fixed line, 104 per 100 mobile cellular.
International.
Country code, 32, landing point for a number of submarine cables that provide links to Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Satellite Earth stations, 7, Intelsat, 3.
Broadcast media, a segmented market with the three major communities, Flemish, French, and German-speaking, each having responsibility for their own broadcast media. Multiple TV channels exist for each community. Additionally, in excess of 90% of households are connected to cable and can access broadcasts of TV stations from neighboring countries. Each community has a public radio network coexisting with private broadcasters.
Internet country code. .b.
Internet users, total.
9,870,734.
Percent of population.
86.5%.
Country comparison to the world.
48.
Broadband fixed subscriptions total.
4,378,973.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
38.
Country comparison to the world.
30.
Transportation.
Belgium.
National air transport system. Number of registered air carriers.
7.
Inventory of registered aircraft operated by air carriers.
117.
Annual passenger traffic on registered air carriers.
11,193,023.
Annual freight traffic on registered air carriers.
1,464,316,900 Mount km.
Civil aircraft registration country code prefix U.
Airports. 41.
Country comparison to the world.
102.
Airports with paved runways total.
26.
Over 3,047 m.
6.
2,438 to 3,047 m.
9.
1,524 to 2,437 m.
2.
914 to 1,523 m.
1.
Under 914 m.
8.
Airports with unpaved runways total.
15.
Under 914 m.
15.
Heliports 1.
Pipelines. 3,139 kilometers gas, 154 kilometers oil, 535 kilometers refined products.
Railways total.
3,592 kilometers.
Standard gauge.
3,592 kilometers. 1.435 meter gauge. 2,960 kilometers electrified.
Country comparison to the world.
53.
Roadways, waterways 2,043 kilometers. 1,528 kilometers in regular commercial use.
Country comparison to the world.
41.
Merchant marine.
Merchant marine may be defined as all ships engaged in the carriage of goods, or all commercial vessels, as opposed to all non-military ships, which excludes tugs, fishing vessels, offshore oil rigs, etc.
Total.
185.
By type.
Bulk carrier 15, general cargo 15, oil tanker 20, other 135.
Country comparison to the world.
66.
Ports and terminals. Major seaports.
Ostend, Zeebrugge.
Container port. Tes.
Antwerp, 10,037,341.
LNG terminals. Import.
Zeebrugge.
River ports.
Antwerp, Gent, Scheldt River.
Brussels. Seine River, Liège, Meuse River.
Military and security.
Belgium.
Military expenditures 0.93% of GDP.
0.91% of GDP.
0.92% of GDP.
0.92% of GDP.
0.97% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
119.
Military branches. Belgian Armed Forces.
Land component, naval component, air component, medical component.
Military service age and obligation. 18 years of age for male and female voluntary military service. Conscription abolished in 1994.
Transnational issues.
Belgium.
Disputes, international, none.
Refugees and internally displaced persons. Refugees, country of origin.
9,080. Syria.
Stateless persons.
7,695.